Hi. What's going on here? Oh. We have a dead pump on a boiler. This guy isn't working. And I got a new one in the box. And we're gonna change this guy out. So stick around and we'll show you how this goes. Okay, a couple things we're gonna do first. Number one, turn off the power. Sometimes there's an external source, and in this case, it looks like power is coming from, so we're tracing the power coming into the switch, coming out to this is a low water cutoff, this is an aquastat relay, this is a secondary temperature switch, just in case things get too hot, this guy will shut it off. So, powering off, and we're gonna check that, make sure we got no power. Oh, I forgot a screwdriver. I gotta go back. Okay, so we're gonna double check that. Feed water in. We're gonna turn that off. And then the fun part is now all of these zone valves should be off, except for the Boilermate, because they're looking for hot water, but the Boilermate's not making any hot water because the pump's bad. So that guy's still not working. So we got two that are open, but we got to close all these, and I won't bore you with that. So I've already closed all these valves. And I closed those because I need the water out of here, but so I can't close this guy because here's my drain. So this has got to drain out, but I also don't want the other side draining back into the boiler. So I've got to close all these guys. I won't bore you with that either. Okay, all those are off. Now, this is an expansion tank, makes up thermal expansion, and this is all due to change. This boiler system, it's old and it's time to go, and we're going to be changing this in the next couple of months, but for right now they need hot water out of this guy, and that's why we're changing the pump. But fortunately enough for this, we got a valve right here. When I put this in a couple years ago, I left that valve there just in case, because if I got to ever change that tank, of course I got a valve right here to isolate it, and if I had to do anything else, I don't have to drain that whole tank to do the work I need to do. So, with that, we got to open our drain. Fortunately for me, there's a floor drain right here. So we'll put the bucket on the hose, make sure we don't go flying too far, and we can open the drain. Oh, there's some lovely filth down there, eh, Dennis? And that's the can vent back there. That's letting air in as the water comes out. And while that's doing that, we can get started checking for power. So we're going to start with getting in here like we did, turn off the power, we think. So I just want to probe in here, and here, I'll show you the difference. That's got power. That's no power. So we know we got no power going to the pump, so we don't shock ourselves. Perfect. Okay, so now that we've got some of the water out of the boiler, only need to make sure I got here, and I think we've drained probably enough, so we're going to shut this guy off. Then we'll come back to this guy. Okay. Eleven sixteenths, 5/8. Why do they do that? How many tool sets have you seen with two 11/16ths and two 5/8? So in case you only have one tool set, you got one for each. Fortunately on this pump, it encapsulates the 11/16ths, so we just need a 5/8. There's always one stiff one. It's always the last one. Does anybody else notice that? It's always the last one. The last one always the hardest. How come I never start with the last one first? Okay, now if we let enough water out of this, we shouldn't have a problem, but we got to pop these flanges apart and get the pump out of here. Pump gaskets, very important. See the arrow right here? Very important, pump direction. This pump's on the return side, pushing water back to the boiler, so that's where the arrow has to point, is to the boiler. So not a lot of room for pump gaskets here. It's very important that we don't roll these gaskets. Pick up, move it. Oh, rolling. This is what I mean by rolling a gasket. If you don't watch this, then you put it all back together and it leaks. Okay, so fix this roll. Pick up the bottom. Think. Looks reasonably good. Let's get a light and check. Can you see in that slot, the black in between the orange and the red is what we're looking for. Just want to make sure it didn't roll over. Okay, the bottom looks good. We're going to get that bolted in. Want to get this bolted in so they're moving around the top. Moving around the top gasket doesn't unseat the bottom. Here we go again. This time I'm trying the tough one first. When you do these, you want to make sure that your nut and bolt, you want to make sure that your nut and bolt spin on further than where they normally seat, freely, so that you're not fighting it, giving you a false sense of tight seal. It's the same pump, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. If it was a different pump, I'd be a little more concerned. Kind of neat how that pump moves up. Okay. Okay, that leaves us to fight with the top one. Looks good. Now these don't have to be death grip tight. Tight enough is tight enough. Tight is good, too tight is bad. Okay, now we'll go back to the wiring part of this. Here we gotta bust this out. So that we can put this guy back in. And I probably should change that to a grounded wire. But I'm going to do what every other American would do and just use the ones we got. Okay, and now you would think the next step would be to open all the valves, but we want to fill this boiler with pressure before we do that. So I'm going to go ahead and open the feed valve. That gives us a chance to check this guy for leaks. Think we're okay. cover back on. Check the pressure. Looking good. Okay, so reverse process with all the valves. Same with these guys. And with that, power on. So it all stayed pretty hot. It all stayed pretty hot throughout the boiler. It's not dropping too much, but let's check what's going to the boiler mate. Hot. Ooh, yeah. She's making some hot water now. So we'll go ahead and get our stuff cleaned up and we'll be all set. Okay, we're all cleaned up and we're just going to check all the valves are open, including the two we used up here. Check these guys. Perfect. Okay, I'm a minute or two late, but it's finally time. The day is here. I get rid of my COVID hair. Let's go get a haircut. Man, it is sure nice to get a haircut. You guys get to see my bald spot now. It's getting bigger, I think. It was covered up by hair, but I don't know. Anyway, I hope your after COVID haircut experience was as good as this one, because I sure appreciate it, man. It feels so good to get a haircut. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And if you think of anything you need, or think of anything you want to see that's HVAC related, I even dip into a little plumbing. Don't ever tell anybody I'm a plumber. I'm not a plumber. But things you want to see, drop her in the old drop box down there in the bottom, and I'll see what I can do to help out. Until the next time, we'll see ya.